Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The greeting of the Sikh faith, which loosely translates to the Khalsa, those initiated Sikhs, that they belong to the Almighty. And any victory or success we may have is with the grace of the Almighty. Now, while all of us have heard the word selfless and the word service, it is the joining of the two that the Sikh ethos of Seva has brought forth for the world, not only to hear, but to experience, to feel, to see, and to partake. Indeed, a revolutionary concept, which has one sharing the resources, money, rations, ability they have been entrusted from the one with those who may need them. In fact, in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the Sikh scripture and eternal Guru of the Sikh faith, it states, Vin Seva Trig Hat Pair Hor Nehfil Karni. Without selfless service, without Seva, of what use are hands, feet, and other deeds? Seva, where the only mitigating factor that is considered is need, not geography, not faith, not sex, not caste, not creed, not nationality, not education, not any other variable, only need. When the need is there, then so is Seva. In fact, where there is need, that is where Seva resides. This remarkable concept that we recognize the human race as one, Manas ki jaat sabe ek kya pehchanbo, the clarion call of the Sikh faith, is a motto that emblazons the logo of United Sikhs, the organization in which I am privileged to be a Sevadar, one who does Seva, and am blessed to be the International Humanitarian Aid Director. But as we all are, a volunteer who simply plays his part to keep the organization moving forward, to keep helping, to keep being there, and to keep sharing with those in need. But how did I get here? This destination has had a journey full of trials and tribulations. In fact, that is what made this journey so beautiful, so rewarding, and so memorable. From the times in grade school, when bullying was the norm, and verbal abuse like, "Are you in the right bathroom? What's that on your head? Trade you hats." If they only knew, were commonplace. To the times it became physical, with intimidation, and attempts to jostle with, remove, and tear off my turban, my identity, a part of my very being. As times changed, the taunt shifted to being called Saddam Hussein, to Bin Laden, simply because of my appearance and the faith which I profess, without even attempting to engage in conversation or even an attempt at interaction. A preconceived notion was put into motion. Thankfully, I was raised with my mother sharing their numerous references of valor, bravery, and unmitigated determination to succeed against all odds, which dot Sikh history. She would share them nightly and even cite examples at opportune moments throughout my childhood. In fact, even now I can recall her voice reassuring and empowering me. So whenever I was overwhelmed or I felt a situation was too much to handle, the youngest sons of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Guru in the Sikh faith, would come into my mind. I would vividly recall how it must have been in the Mughal court in 1704, how 7 and 9-year-olds, Sahibzada Fateh Singh Ji and Sahibzada Zorawar Singh Ji, are put through an excruciating ordeal, how they're imprisoned in an open tower, vulnerable to the harsh and bitter winter weather, how they're not allowed the basic necessities of food and drink, the regime thinking that the young children do not know any better and will soon give in and will surely give up. And yet, how they enter the royal Mughal court through small doors specifically designed for them, but with their feet first and heads back, so they can't even be mistaken to have bowed. 7 and 9-year-olds. How they're offered riches beyond imagination, accompanied with royal titles if they would only turn their back on their faith and their principles, how they are threatened with the full might of the Mughal Empire, with certain death on one side and the opportunity at unlimited riches on the other. Yet they remain defiant to a powerful regime, even in the face of death, which soon comes in the form of getting bricked alive. 7 and 9-year-olds. So me, in the midst of a few dozen pre-adolescent teenagers exuding their pent-up aggression, never seemed so bad. Now, regardless of what was getting said or presented, I knew that the major cause of this behavior towards me was the fear of the unknown, a fear that festers in the depths of ignorance, a fear that can be dispelled not with mere words, but rather with action. So that's what I decided to do, to show what we are about, to show who we are, to show what we stand for. So I decided that from this moment on, I, who had been burnt, would now go into those burning houses to ensure others would not be. And the tool I would use was already there. Seva. It is said that the Almighty always has a bigger plan at the ready. So while taking on such projects in a local level, I was presented with an opportunity to join a like-minded collective of individuals to take this work global. United SIKHS. It is in this capacity where I trekked from the United States to Pakistan to Kenya during earthquakes, droughts, floods, and hurricanes, where I saw that a disaster doesn't discriminate, but perhaps a response does, where I saw that the wrath of nature isn't selective, but the conduits of criteria were. But it was in this capacity, whether it was Hurricane Harvey, Katrina, or Sandy, the Haitian earthquake, the Indonesian tsunami, the famine in East Africa, where I witnessed the triumph of the human spirit, the perseverance of the human soul, and the ability of human capital. I still remember that while providing life-saving emergency relief to those devastated by the Pakistan quake in 2005, where for miles and miles, all you would see is complete destruction, I saw an elderly man sitting on rubble with a show of defiance on his face. So I approached him. I asked him, with all of this destruction, you don't show any sorrow. He pointed to a grassy field where children were playing and said, they are alive, so everything is well. Even in the midst of so much devastation and losing perhaps every single thing he ever owned, he saw life for what it is, being thankful for what you have, not condescending for what you don't. That is a spirit that stays with you, that empowers you, that drives you. It is what is evident currently on the streets of Delhi, with farmers battling the bitter cold and unbearable conditions by camping out in the streets and leaving the comforts of home, of not knowing what may come, and being without their families to whom many have bid farewell, of knowing the fruits of what they are doing may not even be realized by them at all, but unequivocally understanding that their grandchildren will certainly look at them with admiration and respect. This is the embodiment of the Sant Sipahi, saint soldier concept entrusted by the Sikh Gurus to have the wisdom of a saint and the courage of a soldier. Though the odds may be great, the trials may be historic, the tribulations may be grand, if the fight is just, then fight you must. It is what Bhai Kanhaiya saw when he gave aid and ointment even to those enemy soldiers fighting the army of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And when summoned, he stated, everywhere I look, all I see is you. If indeed, everywhere we see and everywhere we look, we see him, the one. Then can we have strife and war? Can we have bigotry and injustice? Can we have caste and division? If indeed we worship the Creator, then can we ignore or sideline His creation? This is what Seva allows you to do, to put those thoughts into action, to test your mantle in the fire, to see if you can indeed live up to the ideals you cherish, To know that when traversing the world, I have made an impact. I have positively changed a life. I have been able to put a smile on a child's face. I have been able to ease the pain of a mother. I have been able to provide comfort to an elder. But it wasn't I at all. It was all due to the grace of Him. So if anything can be taken away today, it is just this. It's how I arrived at where I am. That is what molded my actions. This is the very essence of my existence. The pull that we talk of, the drive that makes you restless to only see need amongst each other. And that is what it is to engage in selfless service. That is what it is to engage in Seva. And I aspire that from this day forward, we will realize that. That is what it means to recognize the human race as one. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.